Hi guys, I'm Leo. Welcome to Wrestling Retrospective, and in today's video I'll be reviewing WWE Elimination Chamber 2024. So kicking off the show, we had Becky Lynch defeating Tiffany Stratton, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Naomi and Bianca Belair to become the new number one contender for the Women's World Championship. This was match of the night for me. I thought this was absolutely fantastic. I think everything about this match worked really well. The only thing that if I was going to be petty and say what really didn't work out in this match was Tiffany Stratton being eliminated so early, but we will get into that as I go through the match. But yeah, this match started with Becky and Naomi in the ring. This was a very slow start. Like, both of them were going for very quick pins, which statistically never work. A lot of show of respect between the two, and yeah, just very evenly contested. But yeah, also very slow, wasn't great. Naomi, for the most part of her section in the match, or at least like the first kind of two sections, if that makes sense, like between the one-on-one part and the triple threat part, kept going for split maneuvers. Like, she was doing the splits and landing on people, which I can't imagine is good for her, let alone her opponents. But yeah, I would question that a lot. I don't know if I can't do the splits anyway, but if it was me doing the splits and dropping myself on people, that would really fucking hurt. So I'm not sure where the tactical awareness around that was, but I don't know, maybe she likes it, I don't fucking know. But yeah, once Tiffany Stratton came into the match, being the first out of the pods, the match really picked up. She got a really good showing for the first section of the match, though throughout the match she was incredibly over. I did find it quite funny how in the whole match we had 5 babyfaces and 1 heel, and the crowd was fully behind the 1 heel in the match. I mean, you could say that Liv was kind of a heel, but not to a point that like she was getting booed or anything. But for me, Tiffany Stratton was 100% MVP of the match. She absolutely killed it. For me, this was a kind of star-making performance for Tiffany Stratton, and should definitely be getting pushed probably more towards after WrestleMania now. But you know, I'd love to see her on WrestleMania. I just don't know where she would fit in. But yeah, I think, like as I said, very good performances throughout. And yeah, following that, we had Liv Morgan come into the match, and again, it picked up even more. She absolutely battered Tiffany Stratton on the outside of the ring, throwing her into another pod, and then into the chains. Yeah, again, Tiffany took an absolute battering in this match from nearly everybody. So respect to her, like on that point. Also to mention that she did an absolutely lovely flip off the top of the pod on top of everybody later on in the match. Naomi was first eliminated by Tiffany Stratton, which I fully expected. Naomi was never really one of the favourites to be in this match. She kind of felt like more of an outlying. Her and Raquel Rodriguez didn't feel like they were kind of ever going to get the win in this one. But yeah, I mean, it was fine either way. Bianca Belair came in last, with Raquel coming in 5th. Kind of nothing really happened when Raquel came in, unfortunately, which is a shame for her. But she was kind of going through, you could see there was something wrong with her, and her skin just like turned heel on her during the flights. I can understand why she didn't do a mass amount. But Belair's reversal of Raquel's suplex on the outside into a DDT was absolutely smooth and lovely to watch. Liv Morgan sent onto Raquel Rodriguez, who was laid across the top rope. Was absolutely brutal, and yeah, it was just absolutely brilliant. Like, it was like spot after spot after spot for a while. Yeah, then Tiffany Stratton got eliminated after that, which was a shame. Big boos afterwards, but I'm glad that she is so over. Then we have, after that, words, Leo, words. So yes, Tiffany Stratton got eliminated. MVP performance, absolutely fantastic. I'd probably say the next best woman in this match was Liv Morgan. She seemed to be involved with everything throughout the match. But we got to the final 3, that was Belair, Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch. And there was kind of a sequence where Liv Morgan kind of was in the position for KOD and kind of did a code breaker to reverse it. And then she was in the manhandle slam, which she then reversed into another code breaker, which was just smooth and as anything. Like, I was very impressed with how she did it twice so quickly. And then yeah, we kind of got to the final sequence, which was Lynch reversing the KOD Liv rolling up Belair, eliminating Belair, and then before Liv could even acknowledge that she'd eliminated Belair, Becky Lynch came in, gave her a manhandle slam, and got the victory. And yeah, just very, very good match. It really showed off for me how good the women's division really is, and the fact that half the people in this match probably aren't even going to get on the WrestleMania card, because not only do WWE not seem to like booking women, but especially they don't do it at WrestleMania. They kind of only have last year there was 3 women's matches, the 2 women's title matches, and the showcase match, which were all very good, but we could kind of do more. There's sometimes where male feuds don't always need to be on WrestleMania, so why not put the women on it? But either way, I feel like Liv and Tiffany Stratton had really good performances here, with Tiffany Stratton, as I've said multiple times, getting the MVP performance for me. Becky Lynch for me was the clear winner. The fact that Bianca Belair came in last kind of gave her advantage, and thought she might have been favourite after that. Plus, Bianca versus Ripley would be an awesome match as well. But yeah, for me, this was 100% match of the night, and probably the best women's Elimination Chamber match we've ever had. And yeah, I look forward to seeing next year's, just to see if they can top this one, because this was so good. But yeah, Becky Lynch is the new... fucking hell. She is the new number 1 contender for the Women's Championship, and will go on to face Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. Following that, we had the Judgment Day successfully retain the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships against New Cats Republic, the team of Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne. This match was alright. It didn't kind of live up to the expectation I had of it. I expected a lot faster match, a lot of high-flying moves, and just overall just fast-paced offense. And unfortunately, it was kind of very slow. It definitely wasn't as good as I was wanting it to be. I did have a lot of high expectations just due to the 4 guys that are in the match. Priest, Balor, Bate and Dunne are all proven within NXT, and then come to the main roster, and I expected kind of an NXT style from 2017 match. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. It kind of felt more like a run-of-the-mill Judgment Day tag team title defense on a Raw or SmackDown. I'd say the only time the titles ever felt in jeopardy through this match is when Dunne and Bate hit the Birmingham Hammer and got a very close 2 count. But other than that, I couldn't see the Judgment Day not losing here. Unfortunately for some, I guess. But for me, I was very happy to see the Judgment Day retain. I was a big fan of the Judgment Day, as you all know. It's just a shame that we seem to be going down the line of Judgment Day defending the titles against Awesome Truth at WrestleMania, which, though I understand storyline-wise, it's just a shame that actual tag teams are being kind of pushed aside for the tag team championships, which doesn't make much sense in my opinion, especially when you have such talented teams such as the Authors of Pain, the Street Profits, Imperium, DIY, etc. They should be getting title shots on the biggest show of the year to show off the greatest tag team in the company. But yeah, that's not the case. And yeah, I get the whole R-Truth thing. It's all very entertaining for some. Me, I'm not a fan of it myself. I find the R-Truth stuff more cringeworthy than I do funny. But yeah, it's just not my cup of tea really. It's just one of those things. But yeah, it was an alright match overall. But I kind of expected a lot more. But Judgment Day is still the undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions. Next up, we have the Grayson Waller effect. And I won't go through everything that happened bit by bit. I kind of just give you the cliff notes of what happened in kind of not the order that they happened in pretty much. But we have Theory, who was just there to start with. He introduced Grayson Waller to the crowd, but also ridiculed the Australian fans, which didn't make much sense as Waller is from Australia and he's his friend. But yeah, later on in the segment, nearer the end, Theory kind of grabbed the mic out of Waller's hand. Waller was visibly offended by that, and when Theory got into a brawl with Rollins and Cody Rhodes, Waller just didn't help him pretty much, and Theory took a stomp and a Cody cutter, and that was about it really for the segment overall. But yeah, I think it seems like we're getting Theory versus Waller at some point. I don't think we're going to get it at WrestleMania, though. It doesn't feel like a WrestleMania-worthy match, in my opinion, anyway. And maybe just a SmackDown feud and maybe have it culminate at the WrestleMania SmackDown that we'd probably get the night before WrestleMania Night 1. We had Cody Rhodes challenge The Rock to a match. Rollins said that he'd be by his side for that match. I assume this will be addressed by The Rock and Roman Reigns on SmackDown this week. I also expect either on SmackDown or maybe in a few weeks to have the tag team match that we all expected to happen between Cody teaming with Seth to take on Rock and Reigns to be announced pretty much at any point now, in my opinion. And then we also had Rollins announce that he's only a few days away from being medically cleared, which is very good. It means that all the plans that they have for Seth Rollins that they maybe would have had to change last minute if Rollins didn't recover the way he should have. It means that there's kind of no panic there, and Rollins will go on to face the winner of the Elimination Chamber at WrestleMania and also be able to do the tag match, which was all good for me. Very happy that Seth recovered okay and that he is able to be at WrestleMania this year. But yeah, as a whole, the Grayson Waller effect it was alright. It kind of felt like a cheap way to get Waller, Rhodes and Rollins on the card, but it kind of did what it intended to do. I know a lot of people didn't like it. I mean, it was okay. It literally did what it was supposed to do. So, for me, I have no issues with it. It's just, we could have had a match there instead, maybe, but yeah, it didn't really bother me that much that it was on, and we got a few good indications for WrestleMania out of it. Following that, we had Drew McIntyre defeat Randy Orton, Logan Paul, Kevin Owens, Bobby Lashley and LA Knight to become the new #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. This was a great match. I thought that it wasn't as good as the women's, but it kind of was a lot better than the men's last year, in my opinion. It had kind of the more star quality that this match kind of needed, especially as the WrestleMania implications are so big. But yeah, before the match even started, Kevin Owens was an absolute gem, in my opinion, and an MVP throughout this whole match. But even at the start with the entrances, he came out first and was just hilarious throughout pretty much all the other entrances. For me, Kevin Owens is someone I've not particularly been that interested in over the past few years. The stuff with Sammy last year really didn't interest me all that much. But more recently, the more I not giving a damn attitude. The show with Kathy Kelly on YouTube is really funny. And then here with the kind of doing the 50s fighting stance towards Bobby Lashley and reacting dazed when Lashley threw his jacket at the pod was really funny. And then when Logan Paul came up to his pod and he just smashed his head against the plexiglass 8 times towards Logan, and which I can imagine did kind of psych out Logan a bit. I thought was really funny. And then throughout, I think during one of the other entrances he just waved at them because they're both babyface. And he made the match way more entertaining. And then when he came into the match, he took an absolute battering, but so did Logan Paul, but we'll get into that. But he just made it so much better. And for me, just a kind of appreciation point for Kevin Owens, who was MVP of the match and just made it so much more entertaining as a whole to watch. The match itself started with Drew McIntyre and LA Knight in the ring. Knight, surprisingly, in my opinion, controlled the first section of the match, especially on the outside, smashing Drew's head into Logan's pod and then Kevin Owens' pod. And again, Kevin Owens at it again. He was punching the glass as Drew's head was being forced into the plexiglass, which I thought again was quite funny, and then gave LA Knight a round of applause when he finished, which I thought again was very entertaining. Following that, we had Orton enter. No, we didn't. After Kevin Owens coming in, Bobby Lashley came in, and nothing really much happened between Bobby coming in. Orton then followed, and you guys can call me Mark instead of Leo if you want, but I genuinely thought Orton was fucked at one point, and his back, the selling of his back was absolutely fantastic. And if it is a work, then he got me completely. Fair play to him. But it did definitely seem like a shoot injury. I know he's talked about having back issues in interviews in the past. So I fully believe that he was hurt, and I was creasing almost every back bump he took. but I do genuinely hope he's okay. It does seem to be the case, and that he just worked us all, which is very good. Like, as well as like as far as him being okay, and the fact that he's just so good at selling that he convinced me and as well as others that he was hurt. Then I'm trying to read my notes because I'm shit at memory stuff. But yeah, following that we had Logan Paul come in. As Logan was psyching himself up to come in, you saw Kevin Owens just appear from out of nowhere, and he just beat the piss out of Paul in his pod as it opened. He locked him and Logan in the pod and just beat the living crap out of him. When they got out, they went to like the other side of the chamber on the outside, where Bobby Lashley kind of came again out of absolutely nowhere. Bobby Lashley threw Kevin Owens through a pod and then speared Logan Paul through a pod, which, respect to Logan Paul for taking that bump, it looked brutal. But yes, and then immediately after that, Bobby Lashley ate a Claymore, was put into the ring, hit by another Claymore, and was eliminated. Bobby being first eliminated is something I fully expected. Out of everyone in the match, he probably had the least amount of momentum, especially he's been taken out by Cross a lot recently. He had no chance of really winning this match, and it made perfect sense for him to be eliminated first. And then, kind of unfortunately within the match, we kind of had a repeat of last year where somebody who's not in the match managed to get into the chamber even though there's a locked door. Yeah, it's not great. It's I kind of see it as lazy booking. We had Logan Paul enter the chamber last year and cost Seth Rollins the match. This year we had AJ Styles come into the chamber and cost LA Knight the match. I understand that they're trying to get to a WrestleMania match between the two of them. I really don't feel like this is the way to do it every year, though. Like, I don't see the point in having a locked door in a chamber if you're just going to have someone invade every year. I'm really glad the women's match didn't have any of this, and this is kind of what let the men's match down, in my opinion. But yeah, I said AJ and LA at WrestleMania will be really good. I fully expect it to be one of the better matches, but I just feel like having someone invade the chamber 2 years in a row is just lazy booking, in my opinion. And after that disappointing spot, we had kind of a bit of relief as Randy Orton hit Logan Paul with an RKO out of nowhere, as Logan got his brass knuckles out and eliminated Logan, which I was very happy about. Very glad that Logan was out of there, leaving McIntyre and Orton as the final two. We then had them go back and forth for a while. Orton hit an RKO on Drew McIntyre, which seemed to be the end of the match, which I was very happy about. Like, I'm not sure if I wanted Randy versus Seth at WrestleMania, but God, I hate Drew just so much that I would rather have Randy than Drew, pretty much. But then the thing is, what was really annoying is I thought Logan Paul was out of the chamber, and then we saw his feet as the RKO was hit, and then Logan smacked Randy Orton with the brass knuckles, costing in the match and handing the win to Drew McIntyre. It's one bastard helping another bastard, and yeah, it's not great like having Drew, but it was very predictable at the same time. I don't get how Drew has got himself a title shot after losing 3 times already to Seth Rollins within the past few months. But either way, we seem to have set up a lot of matches for WrestleMania through this match. We've got Orton and Logan Paul, I assume. We have LA Knight and AJ Styles, and we also have Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre, which I'm not particularly interested in. I don't see the point in... I don't see the booking strategy of having Drew lose 3 times to Rollins in world title matches and then have Drew win at WrestleMania. So for me, I'm fully behind Seth to retain at WrestleMania, though, I don't feel like that's going to be the case, as his title reign has got a bit stale. But yeah, I just don't see the point in having Drew lose so much and then having kind of win the world title out of nowhere. But I don't know, maybe it'll be a really good match, and that they were holding back the last 3 matches. I just don't see that being the case. But as I said, the Elimination Chamber itself was good, apart from the few things that just made it kind of go down, in my opinion, which is obviously the interference and the finish. I'm sure Randy versus Logan will be very good. Same for LA and AJ. Probably same for Drew and Rollins. But just the way, there's better ways to go about things, and for me, this kind of let the chamber match down a fair bit. But it was still probably the second best match on the card, though. So Though there's a lot of negatives coming out of it, I will try and find positives where there will be. And yeah, this match was alright. Not so happy that Drew McIntyre is now the #1 contender for the world title again. And finally, in the main event, we had Rhea Ripley successfully defend the Women's World Championship against Nia Jax. Again, this was an okay match. It didn't really feel like a main event caliber match. The table spot that Nia did to Rhea was pretty cool, though it felt like it was supposed to be a splash, but because she knew she weren't going to make it, she turned it into an elbow, which is very intuitive for Nia Jax, and I honestly wouldn't have given her that kind of credit going into the match. But you know, she has improved since coming back in September, so I will give her that much. But yeah, as I said, it was an okay match. I wasn't expecting like a half an hour 5-star classic out of the two of them, but you know, this really felt like a Raw main event rather than a Premium Live event main event. But I understand why it was main event, with Rhea being the home country girl. But personally, I would have had this go on first, had the Women's Elimination Chamber go on last, and then had Rhea come out after the match to a massive pop again and face off with Becky Lynch. But as I said, fully understandable why they did it. It just didn't kind of live up to what a main event should be, which is unfortunate. But yeah, we've seen, as we now get Rhea versus Becky at WrestleMania, which is something I'm very, very much looking forward to, and something I very much wanted going into the build of WrestleMania, as I did want Becky to win the Royal Rumble, but that simply was not the case. But yeah, I think that it'll be a great presentation of kind of the present of the women's division in Becky Lynch taking on the future of the women's division in Rhea Ripley. One-on-one at WrestleMania will be really good. I understand that Rhea's the champion, so she might be seen as not the future, but she's still quite young, so that's why I'd kind of say she's still the future, though she's champion. But yeah, the match was okay. Wasn't the best main event, but you know, still enjoyable. Huge pop for Rhea, and yeah, very happy that she's still the women's world champion. So those are my thoughts and opinions on Elimination Chamber 2024. Predictions-wise, from the predictions I actually did with the tag team, well, the women's tag title match being added later on, I predicted the 4 main show matches, of which I got all 4 of them right, which is pretty good. I haven't got full marks on a pay-per-view since Backlash back in September, so that's pretty cool. Meaning that my score for the year so far, even though we're only in February, is 8 out of 10, which I think is pretty damn good in my opinion. But yeah, do put in the comments what you enjoyed most about the show, what your match of the night was, what your favourite moment was, what you think is going to happen at WrestleMania. Any feedback from me as well would be much appreciated. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed the show. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Do like, subscribe and all that good stuff for the Instagram that's at the bottom of the screen. And I will thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys later.